Let me show you something that confuses a lot of retirees. If you had 300,000 and wanted to generate income in retirement, most people assume the safest approach would be something like CDs, bonds, or maybe following the 4% rule from a diversified investment portfolio. But when we compare those strategies to a lifetime income annuity, something surprising shows up. In this example, the annuity produces about 57% more income than a 5% bond, and almost double what a traditional 4% withdrawal strategy produces. So the obvious question becomes, how is this even possible? Because annuities aren't earning higher investment returns, they're not magic, but the way retirement income is structured with them is fundamentally different. Now, maybe you're watching this and thinking, okay, but where does the 300,000 example even come from? Right? Maybe it's money from a 401k rollover. Maybe it's part of an IRA you've built over the last 25 or 30 years. Or maybe it's simply one portion of a larger retirement portfolio. Because in real retirement plans, people almost never take their entire retirement savings and convert it into an annuity. Instead, it's typically used as a piece of a broader income strategy. Some money stays invested for growth, some money stays liquid for flexibility, and sometimes a portion is used to stabilize income. So to make this real, let's look at an actual example. So let me show you where these numbers actually come from. This is an actual quote comparison pulled earlier today for a 67-year-old female retiree in Pennsylvania, allocating $300,000 towards lifetime income starting immediately. And the one thing you'll notice right away is that the payouts across companies are actually very similar. For example, Fidelity and Guarantee comes in at around $23,580 per year. Nationwide is at about $23,438 per year. Prudential is roughly $23,430 per year. Global Atlantic comes in at around $23,220 per year. American General is at about $23,100 per year. And MassMutual is roughly $22,950 per year. So across the market today, the income generated from $300,000 on a single life payout lands roughly between $23,000 and $23,500 per year, which works out to roughly $1,900 to $2,000 per month for the rest of this individual's life. Now, when people see this number, the reaction is usually one of two things. Either they say, that seems lower than I expected, or more often than not, they say, wait, how is that payout even possible? And that's where context becomes really important. Because once you see this comparison side by side, the reason these income numbers exist start to make a lot more sense. So let's walk through the comparison. If someone put $300,000 into something like a bond or a CD earning around 5%, that income would be roughly $15,000 per year. Now compare that to the annuity income of about $23,580 per year. Now that's $8,580 more income each year, which works out to roughly 57% more income from the same $300,000. Now let's look at the 4% withdrawal strategy. Under that framework, someone with $300,000 invested in a diversified portfolio might withdraw roughly $12,000 per year. Now compare that to the annuity income of $23,580. That's about $11,580 more income annually, which works out to roughly 96% more income from the same capital. And when people see this comparison, the natural reaction is, that seems too good to be true. Because if an annuity can generate that much more income, why wouldn't everyone use one? And this is where it's really important to understand something. This does not mean the annuity is earning higher investment returns. And it definitely doesn't mean annuities are automatically better than other investments. Those conclusions would be completely wrong. The reason the income appears higher is because annuities operate under a different financial structure. With CDs, bonds, or investment portfolios, the income is typically paid from interest, dividends, or selling shares of your own principal. But income annuities work differently. Insurance companies pool longevity risk across thousands of retirees. Some people will live longer than average, some people will live shorter than expected, but because the risk is pooled across a large group, the insurance company can convert a lump sum into a predictable lifetime income stream that isn't directly tied to daily market performance. And that pooling effect allows them to distribute more income at levels that can be difficult to replicate using conventional investment tools. Another way I sometimes explain this to clients is with a simple analogy, right? So imagine a group of 1,000 retirees all contributing to a shared income pool. Each person contributes money. Some people will receive income for 10 years. Some will receive income for 20 years. Some might receive income for 30 years or even more. Because the insurance company manages that entire pool, they can distribute income in a way that smooths out those differences across the group. Now compare that to someone managing their retirement income alone. If you're drawing income strictly from your own portfolio, you have to plan for the possibility that you might live 30 years in retirement. So your withdrawals have to be conservative enough to survive that entire period. That's one of the reasons the 4% rule exists. It is designed to give a portfolio a high probability of success lasting through long retirements. But the trade-off is that the income generated per dollar of capital tends to be lower. And this leads to a much more important conversation, because sometimes the biggest benefit of higher income from a portion of your portfolio isn't the income itself, it's what it allows the rest of your plan to do. So imagine two retirees who both have $1 million saved. The first retiree relies entirely on their investment portfolio for income. Every month they withdraw money from the same account that is exposed to market volatility. If the market declines early in retirement, which historically it happens more often than people realize, those withdrawals can permanently damage the sustainability of the portfolio. That's what financial planners call sequence of return risk. Now imagine a second retiree with the exact same $1 million portfolio, but they allocate a portion of their savings to create stable income. Now their essential expenses might be covered by Social Security plus that annuity income. And suddenly the investment portfolio doesn't have to act like a paycheck anymore. It becomes a long-term growth asset again. And that shift can dramatically change the stability of a retirement plan. I've seen this play out many times with retirees. I remember working with a couple a few years ago who had saved a little over $1.5 million for retirement. Now on paper they were in great shape, but almost all of their income depended on their investment portfolio. And every time the market dropped even 10 or 15%, their confidence in retirement dropped with it. It wasn't a math problem, it was a structure problem. Once we stabilized a portion of their income, the entire plan started to feel different, even though their total assets hadn't changed. So when people look at strategies like this, the real question usually isn't, should I put all my money into an annuity? That's almost never the right question. The better question is, would stabilizing a portion of my retirement income make the rest of my plan stronger? Because retirement planning isn't just about maximizing returns. It's about building a structure that allows you to sleep well at night while your money continues to work for you. If you're approaching retirement and you'd like help evaluating how different income strategies might fit into your overall plan, there's a link below where you can schedule a complimentary retirement income strategy call. At the very least, we can help you understand your options and point you in the right direction. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.